Max Corn here, Cub Reporter, coming at you with flippin' news. And yes, apparently DC Comics is up for sale. Will that impact Mad Magazine? We hope so. Anyway, before I get into that, I have a few things that I want to say. First off, look at these beautiful, beautiful stickers. Look at flipping through sticker, Potter ZB System of Weights and Measures sticker, and then there's the Max Corn one, the transparent one that you can use to vandalize public restrooms. If you want these stickers, and I hope you do, right now the only place that you can get them is patreon.com/flippingthrough. If you support me at the $5 level, you're getting a pack of these stickers, one of each. That's all. And if you're hearing this and you're like, wait, I'm already backing, but it's not at the $5 level, don't worry, you're being grandfathered in. You were one of the first people to support me, and I couldn't do that to you. So current patron subscribers, Patreon subscribers, you guys are getting one of these, and any future people at $5, they're going to get some of those in the mail as well. Anyway, I have to say thank you to Ed Meisinger, Doug Guilford, Rob Wilson, Rod Mead-Sperry, Andrew Goldfarb, Casey Ori, and Kyle Bridget. Thank you guys so much for your support, and I hope I can continue earning it. That being said, let's move over to the news. Wait, did I not bring it up? Web browser. So here we have Bleeding Cool. This is the scoop. This is the Scooperino. DC Comics buyout in the works from fans with lots of money. Okay. DC Comics has had one hell of a rough year. They fired their publisher, 2 editors-in-chief, and many staffers who had been at the company for decades, with more expected. The 2 editors-in-chief, I believe it was Dan DiDio, and then, he was the publisher. I guess I don't know. I know that they had 2 people at editor-in-chief. It doesn't matter. All as a result of the AT&T buyout of Warner's, the pandemic, and cuts across the board. But Bleeding Cool understands that it was former DC president Diane Nelson's decision that really affected it. I mean, people aren't buying comics like they used to. I think that's probably what did it most. The move from coast to coast succeeded in making DC work better as part of Warner Media as a whole, with many projects spinning out of that increased proximity, but also brought greater financial pressure on every project, including the publication of comic books. I'm going to skip ahead because a lot of this just doesn't really matter. So, last year, a number of high-rolling individuals were given tours of DC Comics Burbank with AT&T/Warner's officials. And as a result, there may be some new options because Bleeding Cool has been made aware of plans by big-time DC Comics fans with access to a lot of money, many millions, from across many businesses. I don't know. He's a collaboration with some of the biggest cheeses who, with a combination of personal wealth and raised capital, are making an approach to AT&T, not to buy DC Comics outright from AT&T/Warner's, not to touch the movies, the TV, the games, or the merchandise, but solely rights and ownerships of the comic book side of the publisher. To be able to create and publish the DC Comics line as they would like. Let Warner's do the movies and TV shows, but take all of the cumbersome work of actually publishing comic books off their hands, while Warner's are free to adapt it if they wish. If you could be a member of this group, you have probably already been approached, people who can bring or can raise a minimum of 8 figures apiece. So that's like multiple millions. That's at least 10 mil. Who have both an Action Comics #1 and Detective Comics #27 to spare. and who really, really, really like DC Comics. The fans are taking over Arkham Asylum. Few things jump out. He keeps referring to these people as fans, so that makes it seem as though they have no connection to comic books at all. But the thing that jumps out to me as a fan of Mad Magazine is the comic book side of the publisher. Because what falls under the comic book side of DC? Mad Magazine does. And Mad Magazine is, I mean, there's been a few interviews in the past where guests have talked about that desire that Warner had, that they sort of like create things that could be marketed or turned into properties, IP, right? Like creating some IP. But they haven't produced anything really. I mean, Spy versus Spy, a lighter side of movie. I don't know. Like, there's not much that comes to mind that could be spun off and merchandised aside from Spy versus Spy, which has been. If you're not watching the play along, listen, if you are not watching my live playthrough of Spy versus Spy, you made the right decision. It's a punishment. Anyway, now this is like rumor. Bleeding Cool, I don't know. I feel like this guy, I don't know really what his track record is. I do think it's strange that he keeps referring to them as fans. On YouTube, this by comic artist Pro Secrets, Ethan Van Sciver, he's posted this and this jumped out, which is rumor AT&T is considering selling DC Comics 2. You won't believe it. What a wonderful title. It hooks me in and I watched the entire thing. So I'm not going to play this. What if I mute it? He does. It's not worth. I'll just talk about this. So what Ethan Van Sciver talked about is he basically confirmed the story that Rich Johnson wrote about in his article. But Ethan Van Sciver is unafraid to just name names if he has them. He's somebody who has worked at DC Comics for like decades. He doesn't work there anymore, but he still has friends who work there. He still has connections. And there are two names that he dropped in his video. The one is Steve Geppi. And if that name isn't a household name, that's forgivable. He's the guy who owns Diamond Distributors, like the monopoly that controls comic distribution all across the United States. Maybe into Europe, I don't know. So this is a guy who, I mean, he's a big shot. He's got that money, got that cheddar. And the other one, which I found very interesting, was Robert Kirkman, from The Walking Dead fame. I have to say the latter is the one that I'm probably most excited about because, I mean, he's written comics. He's worked in comics in that capacity. I think he's currently, a big shot over at Image. Like, this is not going to be new to him at all. And I mean, comics distribution is one thing. Comics publishing, I'm guessing, is something else. So, I don't know. I'm pretty excited. And I actually, in my excitement, I sent a tweet out. I tweeted to Robert Kirkman. And where did that tweet go? It disappeared? Maybe I didn't even send it. Oh, yeah, here we go. Oh, I got to hide my DMs. Here we go. Robert Kirkman, if you buy DC Comics, will you resurrect Mad 2? There are a lot of us out here who still love it and buy it. Yes, unsurprisingly, he has not responded. But I will keep you abreast at any changes in this situation. If you had to choose, I guess this is what I'm going to ask you to reply in the comments. What do you think of this? Do you think somebody buying DC Comics would have a positive effect on Mad Magazine? And if you had to pick between Geppi and Kirkman, or really anybody else, who would you like to see buy DC Comics and therefore buy Mad Magazine? Anyway, with that, thank you so much for watching. This has been Mad News. I am Max Korn, Cub Reporter. Toodaloo.